Welcome back into the ASUG News Studio. If you've been a SAP customer or a follower of SAP customer for many years, you will know the name Michael Doane. He is a consultant, blogger, but probably best known for his two books, the Green Book and the Blue Book, which he will be signing later today.
Yes, I will.
And Michael, thank you very much for stopping by.
Well, thanks for having me, Tom. This is one of the highlights of every year. Sapphire and with the level of ASUG, the last 4 years I've been able to hang with ASUG. It's made Sapphire all the more enjoyable and all the more fruitful for me. So thanks for having me.
And actually, what's great about the books is they're actually blue.
Yes, you have a blue book here. Shameless book plug. SAP Blue Book. This is the demystifier for those who don't know what SAP is. And the second is for the firms that already have SAP and say, we want to get more value out of this, and they're both now available, I'm very happy to say, through SAP Press.
Great. Great to have you here, and glad the books are doing well. Let's start off maybe, you've been watching SAP for how many years now, do you think you've been?
16 now.
16 years. And as I was traveling down here, I was reading a profile of Clayton Christensen, The Innovator's Dilemma, and his thing about disrupting themselves. As you look at SAP today, and if you buy into Christensen's series about companies, big companies, SAP now 40 years old, need to disrupt themselves, A, do you think SAP needs to disrupt themselves, and B, have they done that recently, if you do think that's an important thing for SAP to do?
In that light, you know I'm an analyst. We tweet together. We watch a lot of what's going on. I see more articles from really bad analysts doing the death of SAP kind of stuff. There was even that cover story in Forbes a few months ago, written by the CEO of an SaaS firm.
Right.
You know, it's silly. There isn't anything beyond SAP right now. So in terms of disruptive technology, now does SAP disrupt itself? To some degree. I often get concerned that SAP keeps going down a technology path as opposed to a business solutions path. I understand why they're doing it, but as you know from my writing and my interests, I'm more interested in how a client can make $1 gazillion with the engine of SAP than whether or not they've got the bells and whistles.
Don't you think SAP, though, would, to your face, say, well, I agree 100% with that? Where's the disconnect then? The
disconnect is where they put their money, where they put their energy. HANA is wonderful, right? But as I put it, in case of HANA, if your information isn't on time, it isn't intelligence, it's nostalgia. But starting in about 2007, and even at Sapphire in 2007 in Atlanta, they announced that they were turning away from functional upgrades. They said SAP now has all the functionality it needs. No, it doesn't. But since 2007, they've, true to their word back then, it's been more about technology upgrades, technology acquisitions. I have been pleased that after so many years of not acquiring at all, they were partnering a lot.
Right.
How over these last 5 years, they have made some great acquisitions. My favorite still being Business Intelligence, Bob J. I mean, that's huge. That really put them onto a business plane. So it's not, I'm kvetching a bit.
No. I would think that was when I talked to the CMO, which I know that's albeit the source, but I talked to him and he said this is going to be all, about business people this year. We're going to be talking business. IT, yes, will be mentioned, but yesterday they had CEOs up there on stage, which normally they have CIOs doing cameos and videos.
Right.
So I think they would agree that the message is there, but perhaps still some time to go.
I do a lot of hand polling when I speak, and again, partly because I'm branded as the business side of SAP, but more and more, and especially since I've been doing ASUG events, I'm seeing more and more business people raise their hands. And my favorite is when I say, are you more IT than business, more business than IT? If I say, are you business or IT, will you answer yes? Lots and lots of people are raising their hands there, and that's this conversion or nexus, finally, of business and IT. Business people now have iPhones, and they use all these programs on them. They have a TiVo. Right. They do all these things, and then you say to them, well, if you can do all of that, I'm sure you can do some business objects.
Right.
And they're actually going, okay, I get your point. And we're beginning to get this confluence, therefore, and less of a border or a wall between business on one hand and IT on another. That's all to the good.
Do you, this morning, let's just talk about this morning, we heard Jim Snabe, the co-CEO, say and within 5 years, it's all going to be in the cloud. Everything is going to be in the cloud, which is a bit nebulous and broad, of course. Do you believe that SAP can make the transition from an on-premise vendor to a cloud vendor?
I hope not, actually. You may remember the article I wrote that you tweeted about. It's Cloud's Illusions, I recall. Whether it's in the cloud or it's in your garage, I don't care where it is. If it's helpful for clients to help them move along, we're talking about where we're storing stuff and doing a lot of it. We use the term cloud to distinguish it from the internet, but we're still talking about the same thing.
Right.
I think of SAP as a firm that is for big companies. I know they do a lot in the
80%
mid-market.
mid-size.
Well, you know, they have a higher percentage of small and mid-market clients, but let's face it, when you're moving down the scale, there's a lot of competition. You're at the top, Fortune 500, Global 2000, it is SAP. And I don't want them to take their eye off that ball, and I believe that in many cases they've been pressured by an analyst world. Tell us what you're going to do in the cloud.
Right.
And they're straining sometimes to meet that. They should ignore these analysts and have the, you know, go on. And again, I don't know cloud inside and out, but to me, if everybody's under the cloud or not is of no interest. It's, are they making great business results using SAP?
Well, a lot of analysts like to get their britches in a bunch about, well, it's not multi-tenant, it's not hosted private cloud, and blah, blah, blah. It's
Right.
like, who really cares, right? Does any of your clients say, well, listen, we can only do cloud if it's multi-tenant. I'm not going to do it if it's private
You and I
hosted."
know each other a lot through Twitter, so you'll remember last week I came out and I said, am I the only one who still cares about medium-sized data?
Right.
And you came back and said, get big or go home.
Right, that was it. I mean, that's, but you come here and I mean, this event doesn't really speak much to small, medium-sized business.
No,
this
it
is
doesn't. No.
a parade of big business with big business problems.
No, and that's, you know, to that point, I'm thrilled. Everyone I know thinks business by design is just a wonder, and I'm all for that. That's not the world I live in. I don't have clients who use business by design. I have clients who use ECC6 and the rest. And SAP should not try to be all things to all people, and I'm looking for a shift back to core business, the client issues, and yes, more functionality. Maybe old-fashioned here.
Right. No, it was interesting. There was a quote this week from P&G's CIO, and he, when asked about the cloud, he specifically said, I feel that it's more of a commodity. I'm trying to stay away from those areas where there isn't competitive differentiation. In essence, he was saying, well, the cloud's kind of, everyone's doing it, so if I'm not going to differentiate myself, could there ever be conceived a cloud backlash that people would be like, well, there's no competitive differentiation there for me. Yes, it's efficient. Yes, it's, you know, it saves money, but
I think, fine, go do stuff with the cloud. It's not an end-all be-all. It's not solving anything for your business people. It's not advancing your business processes. It's a techie thing that analysts like to talk about.
we also, your particular favorite new SAP thing is the Rapid Deployment Solutions, RDS. You've had quite a bit to say on this. We're hearing more about that, and for those who don't know, it's 8 to 12 week implementations of pretty vanilla software from SAP.
Right.
You had some strong words to say about that. Can we talk just a little bit about your feelings on that?
At the risk of having snipers around the room.
We're in a safe zone here in the ASUG Lounge.
Okay, good. I don't believe in speed for implementations, and if a client doesn't have the wherewithal, mentally, courageously, to go through some form of business blueprint, then I don't believe in it. The notion of a rapid deployment solution is forego the blueprint, take our best practices, eat it and smile. That is not going to occur in any company of any size. And vanilla SAP does not exist. Inevitably...
With small customization.
Well, it's also the argument, why SAP as opposed to SaaS? With SaaS, you cannot change the functionality. That's why. That's why SaaS is never going to supplant SAP. And so SAP, I think, is slumming. It's a way to get clients in who have a sticker shock over the software, and oh my heavens, and if it costs a fortune to implement it, we're not going there. I don't think that they should say to clients, well, skip the blueprint and off you go. It's a model that I worked with SAP in the mid-market 2007 and 8, and I've utterly rejected. I did have the article you saw, two straight. One is racing to mediocrity, when you're sticking just with an ASAP, speed kills, as we've seen too many times on implementations. And I followed it up with as cool as possible, ACAP,
Right.
as some of the preliminary steps that I think clients should take before any implementation to get them into a business mode and make it all work out.
Last question, then I will let you go do all your other things.
Okay.
There's been no shortage of advice, best practices, lessons learned for SAP customers over the years, and ASUG members as well. Why hasn't SAP been figured out by now? Why can't the implementations be easier? Why can't the things, the rollouts be easier? Why is
At
it?
core, and I started this in 1995, clients going from legacy systems to SAP do not understand that it's no longer replacing one application. Like it took them 3 months to change their accounting. And it took them 4 months to change their sales order system, and it took them. Now they say, well, why does it take us 2 years? Well, it takes you 2 years because you're changing everything, and it's all integrated, and most especially you're moving towards horizontal business process as opposed to individual applications on a vertical plane. And the clients are impatient. They want to, we're going to go get SAP before they even know what it is they're doing. And then, unfortunately, I understand why SAP came out with the marketing of ASAP, Accelerated SAP, in '97 to answer concerns of clients that it was taking an eternity to implement. They've gone too far the other way. It's now 2012. We've had 15 years of great lessons, and we have to get away from speed. Clients out there now can know that they're going to have SAP for 30 years or more. So if it takes them 10 months to implement, or 15, I'll say take the 15. It'll put you all the closer to getting benefit and maturity when you go live than if you rush it and stuff it in and people don't know why.
Right. Well, thank you very much for stopping by. Pleasure
Thank
to
you,
talk
Tom.
with you as always.
Okay.
For more interviews, check out asugnews.com and come back in about 10 minutes. We'll have a next interview. Thank you.